Welcome back, everybody. It's Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I am showing part 2. Part 1 was constructing the base of this cute little lapbook folio. So that was part 1. This is where it'll be glued down into our book to cover. I'll put a little dangle here. So in this video, I do the decorating. In part 3, I'll be doing the outside cover for this, which I'm still kind of thinking about how to go about doing it. I might try something different. So first of all, the papers that I used are House Whimsy. I've got all of the links in my video description, along with all the other links that you could possibly need, part 1, and I'll add part 3 to this series. I also have at the top some links for House Whimsy, some free digitals, so check those out. And I grabbed this and I thought, I love this fabric, kind of retro vintage looking fabric, and I thought how perfect would this be for an outside book cover. So I wanted to show that. I think that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so let's jump into this little guy. So I did cover these sides also, and I put the legal closure here. So if we start on this side over here, put my little paper bead here, and I do have a video doing the paper beads if you're interested in making those. So this page is a flip up, and all I did was I just attached this page. I made a hinge and attached it to the base. Let's take my rusty clip off, and then you flip this up so that you can see. So on the top here, this is just a big long writing space here then. And I just tucked a little tag. I've got an owl here, and then I have an owl down here. Close that back up, and then it flips open this way. And this is one of my favorite pages, and this is the first part that I do after I do the covers in the process video with the specimen slides here. Did put some acetate on top of there, and I used the mini brads in the corners here, and I just really love this page. And here I just tucked a little beetle tag. And then let's slide over to here. So here I did a bunch of little mini tags, and I put grommets in all of the mini tags, and everything is backed, so they're nice and sturdy. And this I did with vellum, but I kind of decided that I didn't like the vellum so much, so you'll see I ended up doing some pockets with acetate sheets, and I like those better, but just it's a matter of preference. So all of these little guys pull out. I also put this border from one of my hole punches and added some little things here. Flip over to this side, and it's the same thing. I've got the little mini tags in here. Some of them I put 2 little goodies in there. So this is one of the vellum pockets that I had, and I did have one. This was a vellum pocket also, but I switched this one. I left this one as is, and this just has a little journal card in here, and then this part flips open, so we have a big open space here. So close these guys up, and then here, if we open this one up, this is where I did the acetate. So like I said, it's just a matter of preference. If you like the acetate, I like to be able to see what is underneath, you know, compared to this where it's sort of the cloudy look. All this page is the vellum or the acetate. So those are pages here. just leave that open. And then in the middle, all part of the kit, I just took little pieces from things. So we've got the flower, I turned it into a little tuck here. And then in this pocket, I put a tag. I went crazy using grommets on everything in my fuzzy yarn. And then this is one of my my tea bag tags that I just made. So I had to include one of those in because I love them. And I thought this looked cute with a little flower poking out. So then we will flip over here, a full page. And then we've got another full page here. So here I did embossed paper that I inked up. Got one little tag here with a whole bunch of fun fuzzy yarns. And this is also from the kit, and I just backed it with some black cardstock. And then this is a book plate that I used, and this has some foundry wax, the Tim Holtz Distress foundry wax on it. Sort of vintage look. I'll just hold these up so that you can get close-ups of the specimen slides and everything. And then here is that middle page. Okay, so I'll put this tag back in here. And then we flip open. Oh, in here, obviously I didn't do much on this page. I just put a little tuck for another specimen card. Now this one was made, this card is from one of the House Whimsy digitals also, and I just put a dried flower in there, and that's just a little tuck here. Sliding over to this side, this was one of the full pages. So it's this page, the other side of this page, and I just added an envelope to it to make it flip out again and put some tags in there. We've got a journaling space here. And then here I love this page too. All these little mini mushroom tags. Aren't they so cute? So these all pull out, and they're double-sided. So on this, I'll hold this up so you can see, the acetate just comes to here. So it's just like more like a tuck that I created, I guess. A tuck pocket. Then we open this up. We've got another journaling space here. We go this direction, we have more of the mushrooms, so I can open it up this way. You can see all the little mushroom slides. And then in the center here, it was kind of bulking up a little bit, so I didn't do very much. I left this page. This is one of my altered paper clips, and I just tucked a tag under here for now. So that's just tucked in there, and then I just made a tag out of one of the paper digitals. So that's what I've done so far with this. And I'm loving it. I just think it's so cute. I could have gone crazy adding little things to it. I will absolutely be making more of these. This was my first sort of trial run. So close this all back up. This page, and then we've got this page. And then we can close up here and close these up here. And there we go, guys. I did have this clipped. I just wanted to add a rusty clip here somewhere because it looks like it said it wanted to hang out here. So this is it. So now I'm going to go through the process of how I did some of these parts. Now I start off doing the front cover and the legal closure, and then I show the vellum pockets, and the flip up page and doing these specimen cards. I kind of skip over this area, but this is pretty easy. It's just a pocket that I put on there. And then I show this page and adding on the envelope. And I think I showed some of the mushrooms too, or you know what, I show this part. So doing the acetate pockets, it's kind of the same here. I just made them smaller. So I'm excited to show you guys. If you're creating this along with me, please leave me a comment and like the video. Not just for me, but for all the YouTubers that you watch. It's a great way to show support. It helps out our channels a lot. Just a simple comment and hit that like button for us. And let's get started so I can show you how I put this together. So I am thinking on this front part, I cut these two papers. I was thinking of putting these on the front, and then these are 3/4 inch circle punch, and I was thinking about putting them on the front here to kind of do a what is it called, the legal tie closure thing. So that is what I'm going to do first off. And then I'm thinking here, I do want to put some journaling spots in here because there's really, you know, it's a lot of tags and things, and it's a really fun book, but I want to have some space to write, and I don't know, I haven't just quite figured that out yet, but in here would be a good spot, maybe underneath, you know, to just leave this so that it doesn't become too bulky. So we will see. We'll play around with that idea. And I'm also thinking that when you open this book up, you're looking down this way. So you're really seeing, you know, the top of all of these papers. So that's what I want to focus on, trying to get them to look like they flow and match. I'm sticking with the blues, greens, yellows, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start, I cut these, and I just went with, I think these are 2 inches, 5.5 in length. So that's pretty much what I'm cutting my papers for the flaps, except these are slightly smaller so that you don't have a problem, you know, closing up, just these two. So let's start with putting these guys on. So I'm just going to ink these guys. So I am switching to voiceover for a few minutes here, and then I will get back to doing a little check-in and see what we have so far. So I'm just going to glue these onto the front, the papers that I chose after I inked them up. And I'm just eyeballing everything. I'm not really being particular about measurements or anything. Usually when I try to measure things, I end up messing it up, to be honest. And for my circles, of course, you can use any size that you want. You could even use buttons or something different. But mine, I think it was a 3/4 inch circle punch, and it's the heavy cardstock, the same cardstock that I used for my base. And I'm just taking 2 of them, and I'm going to glue them together just to make them a little thicker. And then I'm just going to use my desk cover, my glass plate. I'm going to use that to poke my holes. That came in handy. I'm just adding some stamps on it just so that it's not plain cardboard. And this is where I'm going to do the hole, and then once I have one of the holes poked, I can just put the other one next to it, line those up, and poke through to my second one to get the hole. I have my 2 mini brads. So now I'm just kind of finding the center where I'm going to want to put my circles. making a little mark there, and then I can go ahead and poke those through. And then on the side where I'm pushing them down, I'm just going to make sure that I use a little bit of a thicker paper. So maybe I'll use a lightweight cardstock there instead of my normal papers that I use. I usually use 28-pound for all my regular papers, even in my journals. So I'm going to push that down, and if we use the heavier cardstock, of course, it just helps so that it's a little more flat there. And now I'm just going to tie in a knot on one side, piece of my fuzzy yarn, and then I can go ahead and wrap it around that other side. So this is it for the cover, and I like the way this turned out. Very happy with this. So now I'm moving on, and I decided that I wanted to, on the left side, I wanted to add some of these tags. These are also from the kit, and I backed them with some other papers from a different kit. But they were a little bit too long, so I'm just going to take a tiny little bit off of the bottom of these and re-ink them. And then I have these papers that I'm cutting down to size. These will be my, I'm calling them panels, just to make it easy. So the panels, I'm kind of adding everything on top of, and then I glue the panel onto my page, whatever page it is that I am covering at the time. So I've got my panels, and now I'm just kind of figuring out how big do I want to make my pockets. So I've got this piece of vellum, and I'm thinking that having a little border going across the top of the pocket would be cute. So I'm using one of my paper punches, and I just made one of the pockets to test and see how I was going to like it, which I do like it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my other 3 pockets here. Now, the one thing, if you haven't worked with vellum before, and acetate, of course, is the same. You can't really use glue with it. So I am using double-sided sticky tape, or you can use glue dots. And I did go around the edges with my sewing machine. Okay, guys, so it's day number 2 working on the decorating part here. And I'll show you what I have so far. So I have my cover, and I made this tie so I can tie it closed. Now this is also going to have a cover like this journal. So you can see the inside part. And we're just working on this inside part now. So I've got that closure. And then, well, on this side, I don't really have very much. I started working with vellum. I'm trying to use things that I don't normally use and kind of push myself a little bit, because I know this is just, I'm exploring for this because it's the first time making this project. So I'm just trying all different kinds of things. I'm not a fan of vellum. I keep going back to it to try to give it more chances and thinking that I'll like it, but I don't really like it. I wish that I would have used a just transparency film sheet here, and so I might change this. And that's all I did on this side. I want to take this area, and I have some more papers that I cut to size. So I have 2 different things. I've got, and it's a little more work than I was expecting, because a lot of the stuff that I made and already had made is a little bit too big. I'll show you, for example, I've got these 2 sizes of specimen cards. The ones that I made with the pockets, and I have quite a few of them. I've got some in my Etsy shop also, if you want to check them out. I have 2 sets of 3 in there. But they're a little too large, so I'd have to use them on one of the main, you know, larger pages or something. And I kind of wanted to do little specimen slides here. So I cut some more of the little ones And I'm thinking of doing maybe some like butterfly windows here with something. And then I also have a bunch of mushrooms. I've got quite a few of them, and they're double-sided, so I can use these as little tags or something. I'm still kind of thinking about this. So that is what I am going to do first, and I think I will make this area here, I will make the butterfly area. So that stuff is here. Now on this side, open it up here. I have another one of these pockets that I did. I have several long skinny tags that came with the kit. So I can slide one of these guys in here. I just haven't decided what I want to put in these guys yet. And then in these little pockets, so you can see the vellum, and this is why I'm really wishing I just went ahead and used the transparency sheets that I have. But, you know, trying things out, so I'll do both. And then I just have these little tags in here. That the little tags came with the kit, and in the video you saw they were a little long. I just took a little bit off of the length because I wanted them to fit nicely down in here, which they do, so that part is good. And then here I left this as a journaling spot. I might do something else here, I don't know, as far as adding big bulky things. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do here yet. Over here I put, so there's 4 of these tags, so this is kind of the same deal here, and these all come with the kits that are in, oh, I have a little extra piece here, the kits that are in the description, video description, and then nothing here. So I'm going to try to finish up the small flaps today, and then I can work on these 2 large pages. Well, I guess it's 1, we have this one, and then 2, and then we also have this. So I guess we have quite a bit. So I'm going to try to finish up the flaps, and that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start here with my butterfly things that I have. Just looking to see, do I really need to put the transparency in here? And I think I do. I just think it looks better, and so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to glue these guys down first. I'm going to put a backing on this one. And I am just using a book page. I like having the text in the background. I think it breaks it up a little bit. And I think this is a German. I think it's in German. I'm not even sure. So I'm just going to glue this down. And then I can put glue down the butterfly and my dragonfly. And again, for the acetate sheet, I just used some glue dots along the edges there. And now I can glue my specimen card closed. Now you do want to, this is kind of hard because I didn't want the acetate to go completely to the very edge because I wanted to be able to use some glue. So that was kind of hard. There's not much space to work with there. So now I'm just figuring out which backgrounds I want to use here for my specimen cards. So I've got that, and then on the right side, I'm doing that flip up page. So all I did was make a little hinge on the top of my moth page here. I'm going to ink it up, and then I can glue it down onto my base, my panel that I'm going to glue onto my project. So I'm just snipping off the very, very edges of those corners just so they don't stick out from my panel piece. So now I can go ahead and glue that down, and then I'm pretty much ready to glue these onto my project. I got mini brads, so I'm just poking those into all of the corners of my specimen cards here and pushing those down. And then I'm using double-sided sticky tape on the back of this part. This also will help hold those brads in place. And then I'll also add some glue on top of this, but I didn't want those brads to kind of stick out from my panel because this is very close to the edge. And then one important thing, I'm making sure that my edges are nice and glued down, the edges of my panel. So every time I lay something down onto my project to glue it on, I kind of rub around it with one of my messy, my messy towel, so that I can make sure that's really nice and pressed down. And here I'm just cutting the acetate, so I'm moving to the acetate pockets here, and you can see I'm using the glue dots just to get that acetate to hold in place, and then I'm going to go around the edges and sew those down. And again, this is just a preference. I happen to really like the acetate better than the vellum pockets, but it's whatever your preference is. Some people love vellum. Maybe one day I will when I figure out exactly how to use it in a way that I love. So now I'm just going to go ahead and glue these down. And I'm using my towel again especially going around the edges, because I did the sewing and I want those very, very edges to stick. I don't want to have those being pulled up. So that is one part I want to make sure that they're nice and glued down. And now these I decided I'm going to use for my tags. So I just want to back these with that heavy cardstock, since they're going to be sliding down into my acetate pockets. I'm just doing a little bit of stamping on the back so it's not so plain. And I used my walnut stain so that it's not quite as harsh as using a black ink. And I put some green grommets in these, and then I'm going to do my fuzzy yarn, of course. So I'm just sort of flipping through here to see what I have done so far. And now I'm going to move on to this big page. So I got this big moth, I think it's a moth, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And I decided to back it on some black paper because I wanted it to really pop. I tried brown, but there was something about the black I just liked better. So I fussy cut that out again. I'm going to ink up this embossed paper, and that will be my panel for this page. And then I'm just going to glue down those very edges just to hold it in place for now, because I want to make this sort of a little tuck pocket. So I went ahead and I did the sewing around the edges of this. I got a tag ready, and I also put a book plate in there. So that page is done. And now I'm going to move on to the other side of that page, and I decided to use this envelope. I had to cut it down a little bit so that it fit onto my panel. And then I'm going to cut off a little bit of it just so that it is a pocket. So here you can see. Now I can ink those edges up, and I can go ahead and glue this part down. So you can see this is the paper that I'm inking now that I'm going to put on top of the envelope flap. So that paper will be glued down, and my envelope will be the part that opens up. So go ahead and glue this down. Now I don't show all of how I did the mushrooms that are there, but that is basically the same thing that I did. That's acetate, and that's basically the same thing that I did with the other acetate pockets. Okay guys, so I am back with my book here, and I just wanted to kind of revisit this and kind of go through. So I got this flip here. I have this flip here. On this side, we've got our flip up page. And then this opens up more. And then I have my full panel here with my little tuck. On here, I just put one of the specimen cards. Then I have my full panel here. This is my envelope that I added with some tags. Then I have my mushroom page. And this page, I'm not sure if I'm gonna just leave it plain like this. It's one of my altered paper clips with a pocket here. And again, so we've got our folded page, then we have the full page, a full page, then the front and this front part. So there we go, and this is what I have so far. I loved doing this, and it's funny because I wanted to do one of these because I have so much botanical stuff, and I still have botanical stuff. It's like, do you guys ever clean out a closet or something and you try to make some space, but then it ends up that you feel like you didn't really get rid of anything, although you did? So I still have a lot of botanical stuff. But next up, I want to make a cover for this. And I'm going to use this fabric. So stay tuned for that. If you're following along, like I said, please let me know, leave me a comment. Thank you so much for joining me today, and stay tuned for part number 3.